ask you about something. I want to ask you. I want to show you a video, and then I want to ask you: do you believe there is an Arsenal double standard in the media?
You could hear what Arsenal fans made of referee Chris Kavanagh's decision to show Rice a second yellow card for delaying a restart just there. What we want to know, Dermot, did he deserve it?
Well, they were told at the start of the season, I think the briefing was quite clear that if you do this, if you make this action, delaying the restart, you run the risk. I say you run the risk because I think you're aware that you think somebody else should have got a yellow card, but that doesn't exonerate what he did. I think two things didn't help him. If you look, he knows what he's doing. And secondly, the touchline. And I say the touchline because he knocks it, people say he didn't knock it very far, but he actually knocks it off the field, so he definitely can't restart play. So referee Chris Cavanagh's got nowhere to go really. He'd had a yellow card for a lunging tackle in the first half, second yellow card mandatory, gets sent off.
Okay, is there ever a moment with a technicality like that a referee can use common sense and say, come on Declan, for goodness sake?
Common sense and refereeing don't actually go hand in hand, do they? Because when a referee uses common sense, I come here on a Monday and you say, well, hang on, we saw this given, we got told this, and he hasn't followed it. So the common sense that you're talking about is to avoid the issue, if you like, and not carry out his duties. The referee has used common sense, in my view, because the common sense is to apply the law correctly, which he has done.
Let's go to an extraordinary moment in the Championship, shall we? This is Luton's Henry Lansbury. Yellow. This challenge on Swansea's Ryan Manning. Right. I think that the eyebrows raised over the word yellow. Could it have been a red? Should it have been a red?
Could have, should have. You can use either word, can't you? I just don't know why it's not a red card. I think everybody watching that would say that's a red card. You know, the player would say, well, I was going to try and kick the ball. It was our free kick. But you do that, you boot as hard as that into somebody.
Listen, I get that people get annoyed at Arsenal fans, but it's the same guy assessing the exact same scenario where a player has flicked the ball away from a free kick. They've been booted in the same way, but his assessments are completely different. Can you understand? I don't personally think there is a FA or refereeing agenda against Arsenal, but can you understand why Arsenal fans are incensed at, again, the biggest sports channel in the UK, Sky Sports, who people over here spend about £100 to £150 a month to watch. They're getting that kind of punditry where 1 minute they're being told, it doesn't matter that it's their free kick, it's a red card, he's kicked a player hard. But in the Arsenal circumstance at the weekend, not even mention that, red card for Rice, don't even care what Veltman did. Can you understand the anger from Arsenal fans when they see these two clips?
100%. I actually watched it again and again and again. Veltman knew that. By the way, this notion that Veltman was trying to kick the ball, his foot was too high to kick the ball. You don't kick the ball like this if you played any professional football. Veltman should have been at fault here. Veltman should have had a card as well, and VAR should have looked at it. Declan Rice, of course, put the referee in a situation to actually give him a yellow card. Watching it again, I think he didn't flick the ball far. It could have been a talking. But again, I actually think we have seen it last season, and I'm going to say this, and people are not going to like this. When Gabriel was pushed by Joe Linton, everyone in the media was like, yeah, it's okay. The referee made the right call. It wasn't conclusive. But when people asked for the lines to be shown for the Kevin De Bruyne assist in the game at Spurs, nobody in the media spoke about where are the lines? Why didn't you draw the lines? It's actually closer, as they are trying to justify the referee's decision against Arsenal. That happened a lot last season, and it's going to continue happening. I don't know why Arsenal get this treatment, but to be honest, if I'm looking at this guy is getting paid by Sky Sports, and he's actually there to just back the referees. I don't think he's subjective in his analysis. This is just another guy that goes on TV and just analyzes things based on an agenda. This is an agenda-based thing where you have to back the referee's decision at some point, or because it's Arsenal, because it's a talking point, because Chris Kavanagh is under pressure from some of the fans and on Twitter and from YouTube channels. It's another clown moment, to be honest, from this guy, because you knew that you said that, I don't know, last year or before. It's horrendous, to be honest, because I still think that Chris Kavanagh could have ref the game better, because you know that Joao Pedro didn't get a yellow card, even though I agree it was the right call. You could have talked to Declan Rice, especially if VAR told you that Veltman kicked him. But the media, I've seen it last season, to be honest with you. I've seen it last season with the Gabriel push for Newcastle, where they're like, well, there was no clear angle. No, there was an angle that showed the ball went out. You just didn't want to call it because you wanted to back the referee. That is, it's all about, oh my God, we need to back the referees here, because the backlash of Arsenal and all the media and stuff, it's horrendous, to be honest, watching this. It's like, this guy is the guy that talks on Sky Sports. It's just,
for me, I feel like it's one of two things. It either proves they do have a genuine dislike towards Arsenal, or they're playing Arsenal a little bit, potentially. And I thought about this a bit last night. I did a video on it last night. And I was like, I can't wait to speak to the boys about this tomorrow, because I'm just someone who, and I made this conscious decision maybe 3 years ago. And I remember sitting down with KJ, Jess, and a few others. And I was just like, I'm so tired of the kind of sort of typical tribalistic, if it happens to my club, I'm calling it out. If it happens to a rival club, I'm going to laugh at it or just pretend that I see it differently. I don't know if it was an age thing, a boredom thing. So I'm just going to try and call things as I see them. And I've got no issue, the Gabriel example, with them saying, no, get that little push in Gabriel's back's fine. But I remember saying on a video where I reacted to it that I guarantee you in the first weekend of the Premier League returning, because that was before an international break, you'll see something similar. And it did. There was a very slight push, not even a push, a lean into Alisson when City played Liverpool, and City's second goal was disallowed, and it should never have been. There was far less contact. It was not deliberate. The goalkeeper had already fumbled the ball anyway. When you actually slow it down, that's what VAR is for. Let's just check quickly with, he already fumbled the ball before he got touched. It was a little nudge. The goal should have stood. But the way they defended that, it was almost, but you can't be pushing people, goalkeepers or not. You can't be pushing them. You can't be knocking people off balance. It's a foul. The same in this scenario. I know it's a slightly older clip with Henry Lansbury, but when that happened, there wasn't a single. When you actually watch that clip onwards, there was it's an ex-Liverpool player, it's a pundit on Sky, I forget his name. When he spoke about the situation with Declan Rice, he just went, well, of course, 100%. You kick the ball away. They asked him whether Veltman should have got in trouble. He said no, he's done nothing wrong. He's gone to kick the ball. When he was also reviewing that, they didn't mention that whatever player it was that was playing Luton kicked the ball away and it should have been a yellow card to him. They went straight into, well, we all understand the game. We all know that Lansbury wasn't trying to kick the ball. He used it as an excuse to kick a player. It's just that I'm just at a point in my life, and I think maybe it is age, where I just want to see if it's the same situation, the same scenario, unless you can explain why it's different, I want to see the same energy. And you get that a lot in the YouTube space. People say, Terry, why do you think Arsenal fans should give Arteta another year versus giving Ten Hag another year? It's the same situation. But it isn't. I don't see the circumstances and scenarios at the particular clubs to be the same. Therefore, I want a different outcome. But with those two examples, and there have been multiple others involving Liverpool, Spurs, Wolves last season, that you look at it and go, how are you 1 week saying the referee got it right? And when another referee a week later does the opposite, you're also saying he got it right. That, for me, it leads to Arsenal fans at the very least thinking there's a bias against us. If they were just open and honest and transparent, I think refereeing would get better. I think the conspiracy theories would stop. And I would then start triggering people by doing the content, calling it out. I wouldn't need to call it out anymore. But yeah, it's when I saw that last night, I was genuinely shocked. I couldn't believe it. I've seen it before when it comes to Man United. I've seen people literally speak out of both sides of their mouth. The level I've seen against Arsenal in the last 2 years, I mean, to a point where celebrating wins have been slagged off for by Sky Sports. Yet Spurs do literally get their kids out and do a lap of honor 3 games into the season. Everybody says it's great. Do you know what I'm saying? No disrespect to Jurgen Klopp. After some wins that weren't even that significant, Klopp would do the allay to the crowd. The players would link hands and bow to the crowd. No one had an issue with that. Arsenal do it, and suddenly, this is a disgrace. This isn't football. I just think that these media outlets should stop acting like rival fan channels and be professional and honest a lot more across the board, not just towards Arsenal, but across the board in general, because I think it's horrible, really.
Sam?
Oh, what are we talking about? The Rice yellow still?
He's gonna crash it to you, Terry. He's gonna say Rice deserves a second yellow.
You didn't watch the video I played, did you? You went to pray, didn't you?
Yeah, I wasn't.
Yeah. Okay. No, so we were playing. Have you seen the video? The two contrasting videos from Dermot Gallagher, where one of them is saying Rice deserves the red because he flicked the ball away, but a year or so ago, the same thing happened in a different game, and a player flicked the ball away for a quick free kick, and the Luton player kicked through.
The Lansbury one that they
yeah. I just was saying, can you understand why? Can you understand why Arsenal fans get really annoyed?
I understand why Arsenal fans are upset, but Arsenal fans should be upset with Declan Rice because he cost them the game. And for me, the thing is, it's just the following. People call me an Arsenal twerker. I'm saying Arsenal are going to win the league. But at the end of the day, Declan Rice has no need to kick the ball away. Well, whatever you say, there is no need for him to do that. It's not a natural reaction to kick a ball away. And that's just my honest opinion. I look at that Arsenal game. They were dominating Brighton. They were much better than Brighton. And for no reason whatsoever, Declan Rice on a yellow card kicks that. That's just a shit judgment from Declan Rice. Doesn't need to do that. And for me as well, Arsenal fans change their energy regarding who the player is. Like, if that was Thomas Partey who would done that, they'll call him dumb, or if it was someone maybe they don't like as much, the energy would have been different. If Eddie Nketiah done that, the energy would have been different. So for me, if my player does that, I will call out my player. Why are you kicking the ball out on a yellow? Therefore, making the referee make a decision. In the first half, he got booked for a yellow card for a really bad tackle. You're on a yellow. You don't need to do any of this type of stuff. And you just, for no reason whatsoever, kick the ball away. You give the referee a decision to make. So for me, I just think that's just absolutely horrible from Declan Rice, and he just cost his team the game, and he might have cost them the North London derby as well. That's just the truth, because now he cannot play against them. So for me, I look at that incident. He had no reason whatsoever to kick away the ball. It's not a natural reaction. And he made the referee make a decision. We all know Premier League referees are garbage anyway, but he put the referee in a position where he had to make that decision. So that's honestly what I think.
Two things can be right. Declan Rice shouldn't have kicked the ball as well.
Yes.
And I still think that the referee could have spoken to him, because I don't think he kicked it 10 yards away and the ball was flicked to him, towards his. Two things can be right. Declan Rice put the referee in a position to make the decision, but also the referee could have spoken to him, because literally 1 or 2 yards is not, like, I get where Osam is coming from, but also the referee was so like, I think he was like, oh, I want to be here, I want to give a red card here, I want to cause controversy. Especially with Veltman kicking him in front of the fourth referee.
I think what sometimes happens in games, and it might be a bit of main character syndrome. I think we've all suffered at this. I don't think it's specific to Arsenal. It might be you commit a yellow card offence and you say something to the ref, and the referee's got his bee in his bonnet about it, and it's like, I think they do it. They're human. They go, I'm gonna get you, and I actually understand that, but it should be allowed to be called out, because again, remember, 5 minutes later on the review show, Dermot Gallagher said that first of all, common sense is following the rules. When he didn't send off Will Hughes, he said common sense is trying to keep 11 players on the pitch. I'm paraphrasing, but it's essentially what he said. And it's like, these men are crazy. Before we jump into the super chats, boys.